The Galactic combat arena was packed, as usual. 15,000 spectators from 37 different species crammed into the circular stadium, their varied appendages clutching beverages, snacks, and betting terminals. I, Vorn Tazulak, chief correspondent for the Universal Broadcasting Network, had seen hundreds of these fights, supposedly exciting, supposedly unpredictable. But after 2 decades covering interspecies combat tournaments, I could predict the winners with 92% accuracy before the contestants even stepped into the ring. Today would be different, though not for the reasons I initially thought. Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of indeterminate or fluctuating gender, the announcer's voice boomed through the arena. Welcome to the 743rd Galactic Combat Tournament. The crowd erupted in a cacophony of hoots, clicks, subsonic rumbles, and flashing bioluminescence. I yawned, my 3 primary eyes half closed while my secondary visual organs scanned the crowd for interesting reactions to include in my report. And now, the announcer continued, our featured matchup of the evening. In the red corner, representing the mighty Draxian Empire, 7-time champion of the Outer Rim territories, with 112 consecutive victories, standing at 3 meters tall and weighing in at 420 kilograms of pure muscle, exoskeleton, and bad attitude, Krazak the Pulverizer. A massive insectoid creature stormed into the arena, its 4 arms raised triumphantly, while its mandibles clicked in what passed for a Draxian smile. The crowd went wild. Krazak stomped around the perimeter, occasionally stopping to flex his chitinous limbs at the audience. Oh yes, very impressive, I muttered to myself, recording notes via my neural implant. Another hulking brute who'll win by sitting on his opponent. How revolutionary. The announcer's voice cut through my sarcasm. And in the blue corner, a newcomer to our arena. Representing the recently discovered and controversially admitted planet Earth. Standing at the announcer paused, seemingly confused. Standing at only 175 centimeters and weighing a mere 76 kilograms. Amara Patel. There was a moment of confused silence, followed by scattered laughter that quickly spread throughout the arena. A human female walked calmly into the arena. She wore simple black fighting attire with blue trim, her dark hair pulled back tightly. No armor, no weapons, no obvious cybernetic enhancements. Just a small, soft-looking mammalian with an expression of complete boredom on her face. I straightened up in my seat, all 5 of my eyes now wide open. Well, this just got interesting. The crowd's laughter had become uproarious. Even Krazak was clicking his mandibles in what appeared to be amusement. The betting terminals were going crazy, with the odds against the human climbing to astronomical levels. This is a joke, right? Hissed Zorn Galactic, my Saurian colleague sitting next to me. They're sending that tiny fleshy thing against Krazak? She'll be paced within seconds. I didn't respond immediately. Something about the human's demeanor caught my attention. While everyone else saw a fragile creature about to be demolished, I noticed how she moved with a fluid economy of motion that suggested extensive training. Her eyes constantly scanned the arena, taking in every detail while appearing to notice nothing. My instincts, honed through decades of reporting on combat, told me there was more to this matchup than appeared on the surface. I'm not so sure, I finally replied to Galactic. I think I'll place a small wager on the human. Galactic stared at me as if I'd grown an extra head. Your funeral. Or rather, your credits. In the arena, the referee, a gelatinous Moldovan, whose transparent body contained 3 separate brains, floated between the contestants. The combatants approach. The referee burbled. Krazak stomped forward, towering over both the referee and the human female. Amara walked forward with the same calm demeanor, stopping exactly where indicated. The rules are simple, the referee explained, primarily for the audience's benefit. No weapons, except those naturally occurring on your body. Combat continues until surrender, unconsciousness, or death. Medical regeneration is available for non-fatal injuries. The Moldovan's body pulsed green, indicating that both combatants had been scanned for hidden weapons or illegal enhancements. Contestants, you may now exchange traditional pre-combat rituals or insults, as your species' customs dictate. This was always an entertaining part of the matchups. Some species performed elaborate dances, others recited poetry about their opponent's imminent demise, and a few engaged in ritualistic self-mutilation to demonstrate their pain tolerance. Krazak went first, rearing up to his full height and spreading all four arms wide. His exoskeleton plates shifted to reveal vivid red and yellow warning patterns, and his mandibles clacked together in a rapid, intimidating rhythm. "I will crush your soft body beneath my feet," human Krazak's translator boomed. "Your bones will make fine picks to clean my feeding orifices. Your planet should never have been admitted to the Galactic Council. Today I prove why." The crowd roared its approval. Draxians were always good for a theatrical threat. The referee turned to Amara. "Human contestant, you may now perform your ritual response." Amara looked up at Krazak with complete disinterest. She yawned, stretching her arms above her head. "Can we get this over with? I have dinner plans," she said. The arena went silent for a split second before erupting in both laughter and outraged shouts. Krazak's exoskeleton flushed a deep purple, the Draxian equivalent of furious blushing. "You dare mock the pre-combat ritual?" Krazak's translator struggled to convey the clicking fury of his natural speech. "I will extend your suffering for this insult." What happened next stunned even me. Krazak, breaking protocol, swung one of his massive upper limbs and slapped Amara across the face, sending her flying several meters across the arena floor. The crowd gasped. Physical contact before the official start was strictly forbidden. The referee's body flashed angry red patterns, but before it could intervene, Amara was back on her feet. She touched her cheek where a bruise was already forming, then smiled. Not a pleasant smile. The kind of smile that makes predators reconsider their life choices. "Well," she said, her voice carrying clearly through the suddenly quiet arena, "I guess we're starting early." The referee, flustered by the breach of protocol, quickly moved to restore order. Due to pre-match contact, the Draxian contestant is issued a formal warning. One more violation will result in disqualification. We will now commence the official match. The referee floated backward, its gelatinous body pulsing yellow to signal the countdown. The combatants ready. Match begins in 3, 2, 1, commence. Krazak immediately charged forward, all four arms outstretched to grab the much smaller human. It was a standard Draxian opening move overwhelmed with size and strength, then used the opponent's body as a percussion instrument against the arena floor. What happened next occurred so quickly that many spectators missed it entirely. Later slow-motion replays would be studied obsessively by combat analysts throughout the galaxy. As Krazak charged, Amara didn't back away. Instead, she stepped forward, ducking under the Draxian's lower arms and moving inside his guard. With precise movements, she delivered 3 strikes in rapid succession. First, a knife hand strike to a seemingly random spot on Krazak's thorax. Second, an elbow thrust to a junction between exoskeletal plates. Third, a palm heel strike to the underside of Krazak's mandible. 3 seconds. That's all it took. Krazak froze mid-charge, his exoskeleton plates rattling against each other. His massive body swayed once, twice, then collapsed to the ground with a thunderous impact that sent vibrations through the entire arena. Silence. Complete, utter silence. Amara calmly walked away from her fallen opponent, returning to her starting position. She didn't celebrate, didn't acknowledge the crowd. She simply stood there, awaiting the referee's official decision. The Moldovan referee hovered over Krazak's motionless form, its transparent body displaying confused patterns of color. Medical drones swarmed onto the arena floor, scanning the fallen Draxian. "He's alive," announced the chief medical officer, a 4-armed Ventusian with specialized medical sensors for eyes. "But all his major neural ganglia have been temporarily paralyzed. He's completely incapacitated." The referee's body flashed blue, the official signal for a valid victory. winner by incapacitation, Amara Patel of Earth. The arena remained silent for another heartbeat, then erupted into chaos. Some spectators were screaming about fixing or cheating. Others demanded to see the replay. Most were simply trying to process what they had just witnessed. I smiled, already calculating my winnings. The odds against the human had been astronomical. "How did you know?" Galactic hissed beside me, his reptilian features twisted in disbelief. "I didn't know," I admitted. "But I suspected. Humans are new to the galactic scene, but I've done my research. They evolved on a death world with extreme gravity by our standards and survived alongside apex predators that would make even a Draxian warrior molt in terror. Their bodies might look soft, but their muscles are densely packed, and their nervous systems process information at speeds that would make a quantum computer jealous." "But she's so small," Galactic protested. "Size isn't everything," I replied, watching as Amara finally acknowledged the crowd with a small bow. "Humans have been studying how to turn their opponent's size and strength against them for millennia. They call it martial arts. Apparently, this particular human is a master of something called Krav Maga combined with pressure point techniques from various Earth fighting styles. But 3 seconds? Against Krazak? She knew exactly where to strike," I said. "Perfect precision, perfect timing, perfect understanding of Draxian physiology." Down in the arena, Amara was being approached by officials and representatives from various sporting federations. She ignored them all, walking straight to the exit. I quickly gathered my recording equipment. I need to interview her. This story is going to shake up the entire galaxy. As I hurried down to the contestant area, I couldn't help but smile at the implications. Humans had been viewed as a curiosity since their recent discovery, fragile-looking creatures from an unremarkable planet in a backwater solar system. Their admission to the Galactic Council had been controversial, with many species questioning what they could possibly contribute. I suspected that after today, those questions would be replaced by a much more concerning one: what else are these humans capable of? I found Amara in the preparation area, calmly packing a small bag. She didn't seem surprised when I approached, identifying myself as Press. "Ms. Patel, that was the most extraordinary debut in a history," I began. 3 seconds to defeat a 7-time champion. Would you care to comment on your strategy?" Amara looked up at me, her dark eyes evaluating my 5-eyed, blue-skinned form without any sign of discomfort at my alien appearance. "Strategy?" He telegraphed every move before he even started. His exoskeleton plates shift slightly before each attack. And Draxian neural clusters are actually quite fragile if you know where to find them. She shrugged. "Basic stuff, really. Basic?" I couldn't keep the astonishment from my voice. "You just defeated a warrior that most species consider nearly unbeatable." She zipped up her bag and slung it over her shoulder. "Look, I'm just here to do a job. Earth needed to make a statement about our capabilities without revealing too much. Consider this a friendly demonstration." "A demonstration? Of what exactly?" Amara paused at the door, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "Let's just say that humans prefer peaceful cooperation, but we're prepared for alternatives. Your galaxy has some pretty impressive species with amazing abilities. But if anyone mistakes our size or appearance for weakness..." She left the sentence unfinished. "Will you be competing again?" I asked quickly, sensing she was about to leave. "That depends on whether anyone's stupid enough to slap me again." She winked. "I'm actually a diplomat by training. Fighting is just a hobby." As she walked away, I stood there, recorder in hand, with the distinct feeling that the galaxy had just become a much more interesting place. And I, Vorn Tazulak, had the exclusive scoop on humanity's explosive entrance into galactic society. I couldn't wait to see what they'd do next. 3 solar cycles passed since Amara Patel's stunning debut in the galactic combat arena. My exclusive interview with her had propelled my career to new heights. Universal Broadcasting Network now featured me on prime broadcast slots, and my opinion piece, The Human Factor, Underestimating Earth at Our Peril, had become required reading in diplomatic circles. But the real story was just beginning. I arrived at the Galactic Council's Grand Assembly Hall 2 hours early, securing a prime position in the press gallery. Today's emergency session had been convened specifically to address the human question, and every sentient with any political clout had scrambled to attend. Tazulak, save me a spot. The familiar voice of Galactic, my Saurian colleague, called from the entrance. I waved him over, noticing he'd molted recently, a sign of stress among his species. You look terrible, I observed as he settled beside me. The news cycle keeping you up at night. Have you seen the latest data? Galactic's scales rippled with anxiety. After that Patel woman's victory, humans have entered 16 different competitive fields across the galaxy. 16. And they're winning. I nodded, having compiled much of this data myself. Not just winning. Dominating. A human male named Miguel Fuentes shattered the Proxima Centauri track record by 12 seconds. A human female geneticist solved the Krazak genome puzzle that stumped our best minds for decades. And human trade negotiators have somehow secured unprecedented resource agreements with the notoriously stingy mercantile hive. It's unnatural, Galactic hissed. They must be using enhancement technology we can't detect. I shook my head. Every human competitor has undergone thorough scanning. No cybernetics, no genetic tampering, no performance-enhancing compounds. They're just humans. The assembly hall had filled while we spoke. Representatives from over 200 species now occupied the tiered seating, creating a living mosaic of evolutionary diversity. The Erminite delegation's crystalline bodies caught the light from overhead illuminators, sending rainbow patterns dancing across the walls. The methane-breathing Jovians floated in their specialized environment bubbles near the ceiling. Even the reclusive quantum collective had dispatched an observer, its shifting form never quite resolving into definite shape. At exactly midday, High Chancellor Dorn Vax entered the chamber. The massive Halgoran's 12 eyes surveyed the assembly with practiced authority as he settled his bulk into the specially reinforced chair at the center of the speaking platform. This emergency session of the Galactic Council is now in session. Vax's voice resonated through the hall, without technological amplification, one of the many evolutionary advantages that had helped Halgorans dominate galactic politics for centuries. Our agenda today concerns a matter of unprecedented importance. The true nature and potential of our newest members, the species known as humans from the planet Earth. Recent events have raised significant questions about the integrity of the information provided during their admission process. A murmur spread through the assembly. I leaned forward, recording every word and reaction. To address these concerns, Vax continued, we have summoned Earth's newly appointed ambassador to provide explanations. The Council will then deliberate on appropriate measures, up to and including possible sanctions or probationary status adjustment. The assembly erupted in a cacophony of agreement, with many delegates openly calling for Earth's membership to be revoked entirely. I noticed the representatives from traditionally militaristic species seemed particularly vocal in their condemnation. The High Chancellor raised 4 of his upper limbs, and silence gradually returned. Bring in the human ambassador, he commanded. The massive doors at the far end of the chamber swung open, and a single figure walked confidently into the intimidating space. Gasps echoed around me. I heard Galactic's surprised intake of breath beside me. Is that? He began. Yes, I confirmed, feeling a smile spread across my face. Ambassador Amara Patel. The former arena fighter now wore formal diplomatic attire, a sleek blue suit that echoed the colors of Earth's planetary flag. Her dark hair was arranged in an elegant updo, and she carried herself with the same calm confidence she had displayed in combat. The only visible reminder of her previous role was a faint scar on her cheek where Krazak had struck her. Amara took her position at the speaker's podium, appearing completely unfazed by the hundreds of alien eyes studying her every move. High Chancellor, esteemed representatives of the Galactic Council, I thank you for this opportunity to address your concerns, she began, her voice clear and measured. I understand there has been some confusion regarding humanity's capabilities. Confusion is a diplomatic understatement, Ambassador Patel, Vaxx rumbled. Your admission documents classified humans as a Category 3 species, limited physical capabilities, minimal natural defenses, average cognitive function. Recent demonstrations suggest this classification was, at minimum, misleading. Amara nodded respectfully. I appreciate your directness, Chancellor. Allow me to be equally direct. Humans did not deceive the Council. We simply allowed our initial assessment to be based on standard metrics that do not accurately measure human potential. Explain, demanded Vaxx. With pleasure. Amara activated the holographic display embedded in the podium. A three-dimensional image of a human body appeared, rotating slowly above the assembly. Humans evolved on what most galactic species would consider a death world. Earth's gravity is higher than the galactic average. Our atmosphere contains corrosive oxygen at levels toxic to many species. Our planetary history includes regular extinction events, extreme climate fluctuations, and persistent predatory threats. The hologram shifted to show scenes from Earth's evolutionary history, including massive predators that caused several council members to flinch visibly. Instead of exoskeletons, energy fields, or natural toxins, humans developed different survival adaptations, Amara continued. Our endurance exceeds almost any known species. Humans can literally run most predators to exhaustion. Our thermoregulation systems allow us to function in temperature ranges that would kill many sentients. And our brains. The hologram focused on a human brain, highlighting various regions. Our neural architecture prioritizes pattern recognition, creative problem-solving, and rapid adaptation over raw processing power. We excel at lateral thinking, making conceptual leaps between seemingly unrelated fields of knowledge. And we possess extraordinary neuroplasticity, allowing us to master new skills at rates that appear unusual by galactic standards. These claims are convenient but unverifiable, interrupted Mox Driel, the Saurian representative, his voice dripping with skepticism. If humans possessed these supposed advantages, why did your species take so long to achieve spaceflight? Why were you confined to your single planet while other races established interstellar empires? I saw a flash of something dangerous in Amara's eyes, quickly suppressed. An excellent question, Representative Driel, she replied smoothly. The answer is cultural, not biological. For much of our history, humans directed our competitive instincts against each other rather than external challenges. We wasted precious resources on internal conflicts. Her expression softened slightly. But this disadvantage became an unexpected strength. Constant competition drove accelerated innovation. Every human culture developed unique approaches to problem solving. When we finally achieved global cooperation just a few solar cycles ago, our diverse knowledge base created exponential progress. The quantum collective's observer shifted forward, its amorphous form rippling with interest. This explains isolated excellence, the collective's synthesized voice chimed. It does not explain systematic outperformance across multiple disciplines. Amara's smile reminded me of her expression just before she had demolished Krazak in the arena. That brings me to humanity's most significant adaptation, she said. Throughout our evolution, humans who could simultaneously cooperate and compete held the advantage. We formed social groups that balanced internal competition, driving individual excellence with external cooperation against greater threats. This created a cultural pressure cooker for talent development. She gestured to the holographic display, which now showed images of human training facilities, what they called schools, universities, and athletic academies. From childhood, humans are placed in structured competitive environments that identify and nurture specific talents. By adulthood, most humans have undergone intensive specialization in their areas of natural aptitude. The individuals you've encountered in galactic competition aren't average humans. They represent the top 0.01% of human capability in their respective fields. A shocked silence fell over the assembly. Even High Chancellor Vaxx seemed momentarily speechless. Amara continued, her voice taking on a hint of steel beneath its diplomatic veneer. To be absolutely clear, Earth did not mislead the Council. We simply allowed ourselves to be measured by standards that failed to capture human potential. We submitted average human capabilities, not peak human performance. And we assumed perhaps naively that a civilization as advanced as yours would conduct more thorough research before admitting a new species. The chamber erupted into chaotic debate. Accusations flew across the hall. Some representatives called for Earth's immediate expulsion, while others demanded access to human training methods. A few, notably the mercantile species, were already calculating how to profit from this new understanding. High Chancellor Vax slammed his primary appendage against the sound plate, restoring order. Ambassador Patel, your explanation raises more concerns than it resolves, he stated. If what you say is true, humans represent a potentially destabilizing force in galactic society. Your competitive nature and rapid adaptation could disrupt established hierarchies and systems that have maintained peace for millennia. Amara nodded, acknowledging the concern. Chancellor, with respect, change is inevitable in any living system. Stagnation leads to collapse. Humanity doesn't seek to disrupt for disruption's sake. We seek to contribute, to improve, to collaborate. But yes, we will compete. We will innovate. We will challenge assumptions. That's who we are. She paused, looking around the chamber. And I would suggest that's exactly why the galaxy needs humans. The Proxima Centauri track record hadn't been broken in 200 years before Miguel Fuentes. The Carvaxian genome puzzle was considered unsolvable until Dr. Lila Okonkwo applied techniques from Earth's musical composition theory. We bring fresh perspectives. We see patterns others miss. We try approaches that seem illogical until they succeed. The quantum collective's observer pulsed with what appeared to be approval. The human argument possesses merit. Systemic revitalization requires disruptive elements. Controlled disruption prevents catastrophic collapse. High Chancellor Vax's expression remained unreadable, his 12 eyes studying Amara intently. One final question, Ambassador. Your victory against Krazak, was that also a demonstration of specialized human capability? Amara's expression shifted slightly, and I recognized the predatory smile from the arena. Actually, Chancellor, by human combat standards, I'm rather average. I specialized in diplomacy, with combat as a secondary focus. If you'd like to see truly exceptional human fighting capacity. She left the statement hanging. The implication wasn't lost on anyone. If an average human fighter could dispatch a champion in 3 seconds, what could a specialist accomplish? For the first time in my memory, I saw uncertainty in the High Chancellor's multiple eyes. The Council will recess to consider this information, Vax announced after a prolonged silence. Ambassador Patel, you will remain available for further questioning. As Amara bowed respectfully and the assembly began to disperse, I turned to Galactic, whose scales had paled to an unhealthy gray. What do you think will happen? He asked. I considered the question carefully. The smart move would be to embrace humanity as partners while establishing safeguards. Trying to contain or restrict them would only trigger their competitive instincts. And if the Council chooses poorly? I recalled Amara's words to me after her arena victory. Humans prefer peaceful cooperation, but we're prepared for alternatives. Let's hope we never find out, I replied. I watched as Amara fielded questions from a group of curious representatives, her diplomatic training now as evident as her fighting skills had been in the arena. She caught my eye briefly across the chamber and gave me a slight nod of recognition. In that moment, I understood something fundamental about humans that my report had only hinted at. They weren't just adaptable, they were transformation specialists. They could be diplomats or warriors, scientists or artists, collaborators or competitors, depending on what circumstances required. That adaptability made them unpredictable. And in a galaxy accustomed to stable patterns lasting millennia, unpredictability was the most disruptive force imaginable. I had a feeling my next report would be even more explosive than the first. The title was already forming in my mind, Humanity Unchained, the galaxy's future rewritten. Whatever happened next, it certainly wouldn't be boring.